And so Rafa Benitez has been sacked by Everton, perhaps inevitably. Agent Rafa, as the Liverpool fans have been calling him, no longer the Everton manager then. Today's video, we're going to have a little discussion about who I think might take over, who I think should take over, but also with a bit of an FM theme to it too. We're going to appoint the managers in-game from this point in the season and see how they do, who does the best, as well as finding out who does FM predict is going to become the next manager too. Let's jump into it. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Clayts and today we're going to be talking all things Everton because Rafa Benitez has been sacked as the manager at Everton. We're going to do a few things with FM in-game. I'll show you here. Look, we've got Benitez leaving his job, thought to be triggered by the club's poor league position. This is very, very true. We're going to do a few simulations because that's what we do here on the channel. But I thought it's a good chance to, you know what, chat through some football things too. Who do I think they should bring in as the manager, etc, etc. That's what today's video is. Let's get into it. Before we do jump into the video, a super quick reminder to like this video down below if you like this type of video. If you like a kind of football chat involved with things too, let me know in the comments below, because I feel like with a game like Football Manager, we can do things like saves and simulations, but having a nice chat about actual football is quite fun too. Let me know if you like that type of thing. Leave me some comments down below. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you do want to see more, because you know what? It lets you know that new videos are coming out and it makes me feel happy inside. That's enough of that. Let's get back to today's video. And so then I mentioned that the sacking of Benitez was pretty much inevitable, right? They're in shocking form. They're only 5 points above the relegation zone as it stands. They've won one game since September. That was that win against Arsenal. They've only picked up 5 points from their previous 12 matches. It's simply not good enough. And losing against Norwich at the weekend, I think that was definitely going to be enough to seal the fate of Benitez. And so he's gone. He is out the door. And what we're going to do with today's video is we're going to go through some of the candidates. We're going to put them in charge at Everton. We're going to then go and simulate until the end of the season. We're going to see which candidate does best. And also one of those candidates, or one of those simulations, I should say, is going to have nobody in charge. We're going to find out who FM chooses to appoint. And then from that, because FM is always right, I think we'll have a good idea about who Everton should go and appoint in real life, as well as I'll give you my opinions too. Also for today's video, I have loaded up one of the up-to-date databases that you can download. It was one game back, so I've simulated one match. So there is a few very slight differences to the table, but the gist of it is pretty much correct. We've got City at the top. We've got Norwich towards the bottom. Of course, they are now off the bottom with that win against Everton. Everton on 20 points here. I think they're on 19 in real life. So pretty much the situation that we're going to be going from is the correct one, with one or two little tweaks in there. What we currently find ourselves is there is no manager in charge at Everton. At the moment, they've put David Unsworth in charge as the caretaker. I think that is probably more likely to be Duncan Ferguson, isn't it? But we will, of course, find out what FM decides to do. However, the first manager that we are going to try out in charge of Everton is not going to be David Unsworth or Duncan Ferguson. It's going to be the legend at Everton, Wayne Rooney. He's heavily linked with this job. Do I think this is a good idea? Do I think he should leave Derby, with whom he's doing a really good job with, right? He's managed to eradicate that points deduction. Of course, it's not a very settled place to be, with maybe some more points deductions, maybe liquidation even in the future coming up. Will Rooney jump ship to come and rejoin Everton? I'm not sure it's a great move for him. I'm not sure it's a great move for Everton necessarily, although he has started his managerial career pretty well there. Let's find out then how FM thinks he's going to do. It's the 16th of January. I will see you at the end of May and see how he finishes in the Premier League. Okay, here we are. It's the end of May and Everton have finished 14th in the table. There's been very little in terms of improvement from where they started off, but ultimately they've stayed in the Premier League. They've got to that magic 40-point mark, haven't they? Under the stewardship of Wayne Rooney. What did he do in terms of what was he playing with Everton here? He's playing a 4-2-3-1 narrow type of formation, it seems. Calvert-Lewin with Richarlison, Whittaker, so bringing through some youth as well there. Charlie Whittaker playing games for them. Iwobi, Takuri, Gabamin, Keane, Mina, Godfrey, Digne. Interesting to see the way that the different managers play here as well today. I wonder though, is that going to be good enough to make him the best of our candidates? A 14th place finish. One last thing to check. Did they do anything in the Cups? I don't think it's even possible to, is it? I think the FA Cup is the one thing. No, they lost to Manchester City in the FA Cup. it's probably predictable that they'd lose that game. They did beat Arsenal on the last day of the season. How do they do in the Merseyside derby? They lost to Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. Liverpool scored 2 in the first 4 minutes there. Okay, so Wayne Rooney, I guess we can call that a modest success. He stayed in the Premier League. Let's go find out how our next manager does. The next managerial candidate that we're going to try out then is another Everton legend. It's going to be Duncan Ferguson. Now, he is probably the least established of the managerial candidates that might go in and take this Everton job. However, I actually think on a short-term basis, this might be the choice that I would make here. I think I'd probably give it Duncan, or Big Dunk as he's known, maybe until the end of the season. That sounds very, give it Giggsy. I'm not going to give it Giggsy, but maybe Duncan Ferguson until the end of the season. You definitely can't fault him on things like passion. And he's been in this role before. He's done it before. He knows the club. I wonder, if you're an Everton fan, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this as well. I wonder if this might be the way to go. Let's find out how FM predicts he goes. Let's go to May again. Okay, here we are then at the end of May. And under Duncan Ferguson, Everton have finished 13th. They finished, though, on the same points as under Wayne Rooney, 41 points. They finished a place higher though. But is it successful because they stayed in the league? Maybe that's the case. Is it a little bit boring and drab though? Maybe also the case. I think in real life though, speaking a little bit more realistically, if Everton can just stay in the Premier League this year, I feel like that's actually the minimum expectation, and to be honest, probably the maximum expectation for a season. I do want to see how they did in the cups as well under Ferguson. The results there not looking great. They did have a good win against Palace. They did lose 3-0 in the Merseyside derby at Anfield though. Did they? How did they do in the FA Cup? They lost to Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round. So very similar actually to what we saw before under Wayne Rooney. Two very similar records actually. Duncan Ferguson and Rooney so far. Very, very similar. Let's move on to the next manager. The third manager that we're going to try out in the Everton job today is Roberto Martinez, linked with a return to Everton, the most recent club team that he's actually managed. He's been with the Belgian national team since 2016. Will he be a successful manager for Everton again? I'm not so sure. Also, the way that he left the club, was it on good terms? I'm not so sure with the Everton fans whether they definitely wanted him to go by the end, didn't they? I'm not so sure about this one. He's also been out of club football for a long time now. I don't think this is the appointment that I would make. However, maybe he could prove us wrong. Let's see what he can do in FM then. Let's go to May once again and find out how Roberto Martinez does. Okay, here we are then in May once again, and Roberto Martinez has seen Everton finish 9th in the Premier League. It is our best result so far. They finished on 53 points. He's really been able to turn them around from where they started. I do want to see actually what type of tactics were they using, what type of system. Okay, so they went to the 3 at the back here, which I wonder if that suits Everton from where they currently are. Holgate, Keane and Mina in there, Godfrey, Digne. They've got Davies and Allen in the middle. I feel like they need to use Allan a lot better than they currently are in real life. I rate him quite highly. I like him. They've also got Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin in this type, well, playing Richarlison wide here. I wonder if that's the way to go. Roberto Martinez, though, has seen them finish 9th. I will also check, did they win anything? Or how did they do in the FA Cup as well? Let's check. In the FA Cup, okay, they got to the semi-final of the FA Cup. So they've been more successful in the Cups, if you can call this successful, and more successful in the league as well. They did lose to Liverpool, though, which is never a nice thing. Back-to-back 1-0 losses to Liverpool, look, would be upsetting for Everton fans. Jordan Henderson got the winner in the league game. They've had a really nice run of form here, look. They beat Manchester City, a really nice run of form. They finished the season quite poorly, which it could have been an even better season for Martinez here. They also beat Chelsea, look. Iwobi getting the winner in that one. I wonder if this is going to be able to be beaten. Let's move through to the next manager. The next manager that we are considering then for the Everton job is Nuno Espirito Santo. Now, do I think Nuno is the right man for the job? I mean, I'm kind of torn. Yes and no. Mainly, I don't think Everton are going to end up going for him. But if they do, I can kind of understand the rationale behind it, right? He's got his own style of play. He'll bring his own sort of approach to things. He knows how he wants to get them playing. He'll probably play a 3 at the back, 5 at the back type of system. He knows the league, of course. Is it the right time, though, to go and take the Everton job where they need results immediately for the rest of this season? I'm not so sure on that. His spell at Spurs was such a disaster that I don't necessarily think it's the right job for him right now. I don't know, though. If they go for him, I can kind of see why as well, though. Let's see how FM says he's going to do. Okay, here we are in May then, and Everton have finished under Nuno in 10th, and very interestingly, they've qualified for the Europa League. Now, I think that must mean he's had some type of success here in the FA Cup. Let's go and find out, but this might make him one of the most successful managers here, you know. Let's go and find out. How did Everton do in the FA Cup? Did they get to the final? They won the FA Cup. Wow, they beat Spurs as well. So Nuno, going in as the manager of Everton, has beaten his former team in the FA Cup final. And finally, for the first time since 1995, right, he's got Everton some silverware. Now, it makes a very strong case for him, at least if we're going to go with what FM thinks anyway. A 10th place finish in the league, easily safe, mid-table, and then winning a cup, winning a trophy. That's pretty good going. How did they get on in the Merseyside derbies? They lost to Liverpool 2-0 in the second Merseyside derby. What type of system did Nuno play then? Did he play? No, he went with a 4 at the back. Seamus Coleman and Digne. Digne, of course, has moved on in real life to Aston Villa, but a 10th place finish and an FA Cup win, I think that makes Nuno probably my favourite for the job if we rely on what FM says. Now, there is one more manager that we need to check, and you're probably wondering why I've gone with him last. That is because this manager, Frank Lampard, is who the game has decided to appoint. Let's go and show you that. Okay, so for this one, I just removed Benitez from his role, so he was sacked, and then let FM go on holiday until the end of the season, because that would be who they choose to appoint as the manager. And as I mentioned just then, Frank Lampard was that man, and he has led Everton to finish 8th in the Premier League. There you see him. Look, Frank Lampard as the manager. Everton have finished 8th in the Premier League. It's a very good season from them. Just outside of Europe, 57 points. They've actually missed Europe on goal difference. So they could have qualified for the Europa League 2, or even the Europa League proper. Look, Manchester United on 57 points, the same as Everton. It's been a really good second half of the season from Frank here. And I think there's a lot of weight behind the rumours, I think. I think it's the type of job that Frank Lampard might be tempted to come in and take. Again, the circumstances may be a little bit tricky for him, knowing that he has to keep them up, right? Otherwise, he's going to lose his job again. But could I see Frank Lampard becoming the Everton manager? Yes, would be the answer to that. I wonder if now's the time. Do I think it's a good appointment? I'd probably go with Duncan Ferguson until the end of the season and then think about getting somebody in the long term. I'd be trying my hardest to go and get Graham Potter. I don't think it's possible for Everton. I don't think he leaves Brighton for Everton, but Graham Potter would be absolutely my aspirational choice if I was choosing. But Frank Lampard as the manager, maybe, you know. Let's go and see what he played in terms of a system at Everton then. Very similar to Nuno, the 4-2-3-1 with DCL up top here leading the line. How did he get on with goals? He got 15 in 28 in the end then, after having a pretty poor first half of the season this year. Lots of injuries for him as well. That, though, will round up our video for today. If you've got any thoughts on the future appointment then at Everton, please do let me know in the comments down below. Who would you go for if you were in charge at Everton? If you're an Everton fan, who do you want to become the manager? Let me know. And do you agree that probably, based on this, that Nuno has been the most successful? Him or Frank Lampard? I think it's between those two. Nuno winning that trophy, though, I feel like that's a big deal. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed this type of video, a bit more discussion based, but with some FM too. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to see videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching today, though. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.